Hello, vinyl community. It's me, Russ, the guy who does the records and the cars on the YouTube. That's who. That's who's coming at you. Maybe wondering why I'm wearing this Lyft shirt. I'll explain that in a moment. But first, stop by Daybreak Records on the way home from doing some gig work in the city. I had a couple hours to kill in between jobs, so I got a few things I wanted to share with you. Also, they had cassette tapes, and they still have this huge collection of cassette tapes they bought. So, kind of concluding some of the stuff I've been talking about. Here's again, gold.
Go! And the line of cars drove down real slow.
Earring. This is cool. The continuing story of Radar Love.
No more speed, I'm almost there. Gotta keep cool.
It's like a comp, it's like a best of kind of thing. But there you go. This was a whole whopping 49 cents at the good old Daybreak Records there. And just like a lot of these I've bought, it came with a receipt off the record records. And this was purchased back in 1990. This cassette tape was purchased. The date is 04/17/1990 at 5:11 p.m. Says right there. And this cat spent tapes $9.49, $7.49. One of those. That's how much you paid for this cassette tape. All these tapes are in really good condition too, by the way. And he saved the receipt. Put the receipt back in there. Little piece of, that receipt is 33 years old, right? That's a while back, man. 1990. Wow. 33 years. I feel old. Makes me feel old, to tell you what. So what records did I get? My wife likes a lot of 80s stuff. I like 80s stuff, too. She likes more of the poppy 80s stuff. It's starting to grow on me a little bit, Some of that new wavy stuff that I didn't like when I was younger. I was kind of coming back around. It's like, all right, I like Tears for Fears. I like some of that kind of new wavy type of stuff. Coming back to Frankie Goes to Hollywood, or you know what I'm saying. San Diego, he goes somewhere. So Hall & Oates, and I'll be honest, I never really got into Hall & Oates. I mean, they have some hits, which are pretty good, but I got this for my wife. It was $3. Look at that. Now this is 70s Hall & Oates. I took off the sticker, but it was $3. It's a little beat up, it's got some right there. It sounds good. Wax is in good shape. But this record is from 1978. It is called Along the Red Ledge. Unlike the Pink Ledge, which the Lyft shirt I'm wearing. It's a pretty cool shot of the guys. We were watching The Professor of Rock. I don't know if you've seen his channel, which has been really successful. Like, he's interviewing like Sammy Hagar, and he interviewed Mr. Oates here, by the way. Daryl Hall has done Daryl's what's that called, hon? On the it was on Palladia, which turned into something else, and trying to be the new MTV. It got bought out by somebody. I think it got bought out by MTV, actually. So it's like one of the MTV5 or something, if you can afford like $100 a month for cable these days. Daryl's, but a lot of those are on YouTube too, which is pretty cool.
It's called Live from Daryl's House.
Yeah, Live from Daryl's House. If you've ever seen that, it's really cool. That is Mr. Daryl Hall here. He's had a bunch of really cool artists on that show. But here's a question for you, VC. So if you're alphabetizing your record collection, where do you put this, right? Like, where do you, I don't know, is it under H for Hall or O for Oates? Or like, what do you do? Or just D? It's the beginning of the four names just D for Daryl. Maybe I'll just do that. I don't know. I'd love to know where, if you guys collect Hall & Oates, or if you have any Hall & Oates, where the heck do you put Hall & Oates in your collection? I would love to know that. Inquiring minds want to know. Coming at you from the Pacific Northwest, those of you who don't know, I'm drinking a locally brewed Premium Northwest, it says right there. Great Majestic beer, which is kind of cool. Locally sourced brew from right here in the hood. I got that just down the street from Daybreak, by the way. Found this one. I did not have this one in my collection. This is Mr. Jeff Beck Wired. It's in great condition for $5. Are you kidding me? And the jacket's got a little ring wear, but what do you do? I mean, this record is in phenomenal shape. Look at that. Look at that. Just look at it! Well, yeah. And the prized possession. So, it's a little bit nostalgic walking in, and they were spinning this record. They had this on the turntable. This is Johnny Cash, Ain't No Grave. This is from the Rick Rubin records, produced by Rick Rubin. After Johnny left his label, and later, you know, in his life, recorded these really cool records. And this one has a song on it called now I'm struggling for the words. A Satisfied Mind. See that? There it is. I used it in my buddy Leo's funeral. So he had a funeral. I was able to make a video for that. And yeah, so that was a song that reminded me of my buddy Leo. I'm a blue-collar cat his whole life, and he died of cancer. And loved him some Johnny Cash, and that song "Satisfied Mind" is a great tune. Tell you what, so those are the records I got today. Our son made it to New York in 3 days, driving across the country in the Hyundai Elantra, which is a second generation Hyundai Elantra, by the way. No, it's third, sorry. Second generation is not great. First generation is garbage. Don't ever buy a first generation. They're probably all gone. They're in scrap. Unless there's a few out there with low miles on them. The third generation Hyundai Elantra is actually a really good car. They're pretty reliable, and they tend to go around 200,000 miles before they start giving up drivetrain issues, you know. So I would recommend. I mean, people are looking for Toyotas and Hondas, and those cars are great, but they tend to really go up in price quite a bit. 40 hours. My wife just calculated it out. His whole drive time was 40 hours. He did that drive in 40 hours in 3 days. He slept in the car. It was cold, man. He was one of the reasons he drove so fast or did it so quickly was also avoiding storms, because there was a lot of storms, you know, headed across the Midwest. He drove ahead of the storm in Missouri, something like that. But yep, got home to his baby. Love tape. Reminded me of that. And why am I wearing the Lyft shirt? Because today is a weird anniversary. Today, 3 years ago, March 9th, because I remember that date because I had to fill out a lot of paperwork. With March 9th on it. That was the day I wrecked my Lyft car. So I rented a Lyft car. It was a hybrid. Hyundai Iconic. It ends with a Q. They spelled it funny, you know, like Lyft, right? Like you spell it funny, and then it's a thing. But yeah, that was not a great day. Totaled it out, actually, and I was doing about 25 miles an hour. And I hit a woman it was daylight savings time. It just happened, and the glare on the road, and I took a left right in front of this woman, and it was my fault. They towed the car to impound. So Lyft has all these instructions on what you're supposed to do in case of an accident. And it was rush hour. So when this happened, and they just towed the car away. The cop was like, the car needs to be towed to this certain garage and the thing right here. And he's like, listen, I don't have time for that. We're taking it to impound. And I'm like, okay, there's nothing I can do about it. They didn't communicate with me real well, so long story short, the car sat in there for 2 weeks. They tried to charge me every day for the car being an impound, and I just turned off their ability to access my bank account. So, and then they refunded me some of the money that they did take out. I think I only had to pay like $150 at the end of it all. And then they were like, come rent another car. You're fine. Everything's fine. But this is when the pandemic started. So, I wasn't real feeling safe about driving around with strangers in my car in March of 2020 at the time. So I went to work as a mechanic. I used my YouTube channel here that you're watching now as a resume, and I actually got hired as a professional mechanic. I worked in a shop for about 9 months, and then I worked for a Ford dealer for a while before I realized that I like driving cars more than I like fixing them. That's just... I'm much happier now doing gig work, being self-employed, and not stressing about turning a wrench as much. Hey, look at you. You made it to the end of the video. Might as well subscribe. You made it this far. Stick around. And hit the like button. If if you enjoyed the video, slam the like button. Helps us out. We appreciate that. Later. Bye. Yo.